Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are here with another Counselor Reacts. And today we're reacting to, well, Nintendo might just be a supervillain. That's right, they might be the evil supervillain that we all suspected that they probably always were. We're watching a video by Palworld News. I saw this circulating on Twitter recently. It's called Nintendo's Plan to Ban Palworld has begun. And now, if you're wondering what's going on, again, Nintendo is suing Palworld. I have played Palworld. I enjoy Palworld. I think it's a really good game, and I think it showed everyone that Pokemon is kind of lacking right now. Definitely, I feel like Palworld shows that Pokemon, like, I didn't realize how bad Scarlet and Violet was until after playing Palworld. Scarlet and Violet is ass. It is a very shittily made game. And that's saying something. Compared to what we could have, let's just jump into it.
This is an example of that. I cannot believe I'm going to say this. Sometimes my job's really weird. This is an example of that. I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but there is in fact a slim chance that Grand Theft Auto 5 might save Palworld. But here's the actual story, right? When September 18th, 2024 hit, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company dropped a legal bomb on the Palworld developer Pocket Pair, basically patent infringement on game mechanics. That happened, but Pocket Pair then went and did something gutsy. Before any of it hit court, they decided, right, this is clearly David versus Goliath, we need to go public with a statement. Here is the statement that they put out. It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to the game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie game developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. And when it all went...
So something else to really to note that's important about this video, it's not just like Palworld. Palworld is working with Xbox, and they were trying to work with PlayStation, I believe. But the fact that it's on Steam, and not necessarily because it's on Steam, but just the fact that Xbox is actually working with them and trying to add servers and stuff like that, like there's other companies that are backing Palworld. Now, I don't know, like, if how much that has weight in court. I mean, we're talking about Japan. We're talking about Nintendo, and they are blood-sucking vampires that will try to get whatever they can out of you when they try to sue you. So I don't know how much weight that has, but having support, you know, if they were just by themselves as a small indie company, I don't know how long they would last. But maybe with PlayStation and Xbox maybe helping them, they can survive. And I think it would be in their best interest to do so. And we'll talk about that. We'll see if he mentions more.
And down, the timing was fascinating. Pocket Pair were actually prepping Palworld's PS5 launch, and Tokyo Game Show was right around the corner. It seemed the perfect time to drop things. The perfect moment, of course, then, for Nintendo to throw in a lawsuit and create chaos everywhere. But it was not enough to stop a crazy successful month for the company, because rather than the expected PS5 reveal at Tokyo Game Show, they shadow dropped it during the PlayStation State of Play presentation. Japan got the game a few days earlier in October, and according to PlayStation's Japan blog, it actually jumped to the top of the downloads.
Holy crap! What the heck? It beat out Dragon Ball in Japan? Metaphor, I don't know what Metaphor is. I don't know. But Call of Duty, I'm just more surprised that it beat out Call of Duty and Dragon Ball, especially Dragon Ball. Like, what? But even in the US, I mean, it's not obviously not, it got released recently for Japan. So let's be honest. But this is about right. But the fact in Japan, it beat out Dragon Ball, like that's massive. That is massive.
It beat the likes of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor ReFantazio, which is impressive. Their numbers are massive, especially in Japan. Now, we've been in a holding pattern ever since. We've been waiting for something to happen, and that is what brings us to today's developments. It's wild, so get ready and sit down. Pocket Pair have revealed that Nintendo filed 3 patents in 2024. Of course,
I just want to say, like, he's going to talk about, like, maybe specifically what the patents are. Apparently there's like 20-something patents that they applied, and they're actually only going after like 2 or 3 of the patents. some of the patents that they have is the most egregious bullshit that I have ever heard. And I'll give you an example. There was one about writing creatures. Yes, there was a patent on writing creatures. How many games do we have where that's a thing? Heck, I think like Monster Hunter, just trying to like fight enemies, you can consider that writing. But we've had like Red Dead Redemption, where you're riding horses, and like other games like Skyrim. Like, it's just, some of these patents are so, I think patents are good, but I just want to say patents, when done right, I think if you come up with an original idea, that you should get some, a very unique original idea, you should get paid for that. You should have ownership of that. But some of the things that they try to patent is so generic, like capturing things with balls. I mean, let's be honest, Pokemon, capturing anything in balls is just like capturing in real life. You're throwing nets, you're throwing traps. That's all Pokeballs are, traps. But like, I don't know. Let's continue the video and we'll talk more.
That's after Palworld released, and these patents are all focusing on one specific thing. It's pretty crazy, right? Throwing a ball at a creature to catch it. No battle required, just throw and catch. Now, you might think, how can they patent something after Palworld came out with the mechanic? Well, the problem is, Pokemon Legends Arceus. Nintendo had this mechanic in the wild for nearly 2 years before Palworld came out, and in legal terms, you actually don't need to file your patent first. Nintendo just need to prove that they did it first. And
I don't get that. How is it that you can, like, you just got to prove that you did it first? What is the point of a patent then? What is the point? What is the point? It is like, I'm sorry. America, cut funds to Japan. Let them sink. We'll get our anime somewhere else. Like, come on now.
These three are not the entire arsenal. A patent expert writing for GameIndustry.biz spotted 28 different patents where Nintendo were alleging infringement. And it's frustrating stuff like running about, transporting your character on a monster. But they're only...
How you can't? Why is that a patent? That doesn't make any sense, because they're literally, I just told you, Monster Hunter, literally transporting, or they could try to make the argument, oh, well, that is transporting because you're doing stuff on a monster. Or like, how many other games? Can we just also admit that Nintendo stole from Dragon Quest? They stole, and that's the comedic time. I would love if Dragon Quest decided, I'm going to sue Nintendo. I wish they would. I wish they would. I wish the owners would be like, you know what? Screw you, Nintendo. We let things slide, but you're going to be a douchebag. You're going to be the villain. We're going to be the hero, and we're going to sue you. It's just so stupid. And let's be honest, Nintendo's doing this intentionally. They're trying to control the market. Like, Palworld did irreparable harm to them. Like, why? Like, it's why Nintendo is so used to being lazy and not putting bare minimal effort in innovating and improving. And why is that? Because there was no competition. Now we've got Palworld, which has innovated, which has taken the formula and evolved it. See what I did there? And it's better. And I think instead of actually innovating their game, they just want to sue Palworld so that there is no competition, which is bad for you and I as a consumer, because it sets a precedent that, oh, instead of actually improving a game for the consumer, I'm just going to shut out all ability for people to innovate. I'm going to make it to where no one else can do what I do. So it's only me. You have to come to me to get these kind of things. In this case, you catch monsters. You can only come to Nintendo. You can't have that anywhere else. Sorry. You're going to get a lesser experience because they have no competition. They have no reason, because they know you're going to come back and buy their game year after year, or 2 years after 2 years. They don't have to put any effort to actually improve the game. They just don't. Just so stupid. And And if Nintendo does it, if you don't think that if they're not successful, that other companies will do it for other mechanics, I mean, it's already happened. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Using these three, and the reason why is simple: Nintendo want to play it smart. These are the ones where they think they can prove that Palworld copied the specific mechanical implementation from Arceus. Now, they've actually found that movement with the US Patent Office is really slow. It actually may not happen over there, but obviously Japan is where both companies are. It's their home turf. Okay, these three patents then are Nintendo's weapon. Now for their objective. Let's get into the numbers, because the Nintendo lawsuit against Palworld is not all that it seems. Now, the initial ask is 5 million yen each for the patents from Pocket Pair, payable to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which is a grand total of 65,000 USD. That's an absolutely tiny amount of money, especially compared to another Nintendo victim, Colipol, where basically they ended with a settlement that was worth 30 million and then ongoing licensing fees.
It's not about. When you think about why people sue, it's just like some of the YouTubers. I saw drama going on where a YouTuber was suing someone else, and there was no way they were going to win that, right? People do these slap lawsuits, even if they were wanting to win money. They do the bare minimum, and it's to send a message. It's to prove, hey, we're gonna win. We're gonna shut you down, and we're going to make you look like you did the bad. You're the bad guy, not us. We're protecting ourselves. You're a dirty little thief, and the court agrees with us. That's what you had to pay us. And honestly, funny enough, it would be cheaper to pay them outright and give them the money. But they would be obviously saying, hey, I'm guilty. But what Nintendo wants is to rein them. Like, to do anything legally is expensive. It is expensive. It's drawn out. So you're taking money, you're taking time, a lot of resources. And when you think about small creators or small indie developers, like, that's the reason why a lot of people do slap lawsuits against people who aren't, like, you don't got a lot of money. It's to silence you. It's to shut you up. It's to, bankrupt you. It's time to shut you down. And that's what Nintendo's trying to do. It's a power play. You're either going to admit that you're going to either give us money and show that you're guilty, and it's going to send a message to anyone who tries to, be a competitor against us, or we're going to make you go into the negative, and you're going to shut down that way. We're going to bring you down.
Absolutely brutal, which fits. Nintendo's legal team, especially in their home turf, are basically renowned absolute legal assassins. They tend to win all the time. Now, that 65 grand is obviously just an opening move in what is obviously...
And that's probably because that's why they focus on things that they feel very confident they can win. Which is probably why they didn't immediately try to sue or shut down Palworld when it first was released, and they made the message that we had to investigate, is because they can't. People are like, oh, it looks like this Pokemon, like one of the dragons looks like Latias. There was a Lucario looking. There was like people were like, oh, there's a Luxray looking Pokemon. There's all these different things that look like Pokemon. Like a small pocket. See what I did there? Small pocket of things, monsters, owls that look like Pokemon, but you can't sue based off of that. And so what Nintendo did was they did the slimy bullcrap where they applied patents afterward, and then they're going to try to say, hey, we already did this because Japan sucks ass apparently, and screw you in your legal proceedings. I thought America's justice system and legal system sucked ass, but apparently Japan sucks more ass because you don't even need to have a patent in place to just get your way.
A sort of lawfare thing, right? It's corporate chess. Nintendo's not really going after that pocket change. They're playing a longer game here, and it's not just to bury the company in legal fees, though it is absolutely also that. Yeah. Let's take a look at the patents to understand how Nintendo have operated here. So yeah, they actually did file these patents after Palworld launch, but they're in fact derived from a December 2021 patent, and they've basically tailored things for this situation. And an IP attorney called Kirk Sigmund spoke to PC Gamer and explained that this is actually standard practice, where companies will have an existing patent, but then they'll refine it to close loopholes. But of course, the timing matters, and in this case, it really does look like Nintendo was preparing their battleground. So here's the brutal part, and well, here's it in Kirk's own words. Your general attorneys cannot do this sort of work. You've got to find specialists. It gets extremely expensive and time-consuming, and it can wear a lot of small companies out. It is designed to make you no longer play the game. So in other words,
which is essentially what I said. Like, they're just trying to make you give up, trying to bring you down so you're no longer a competitor.
you either give in or you sign yourself up for a legal battle that you don't even know if you can afford. But of course, you probably guessed it's not just that. Nintendo's real legal objective here is almost certainly to get an injunction. This would prevent Palworld from being sold whilst it's in breach of those patents, and either way, it's all aimed at sowing chaos, and here's the reason why. Palworld could change the mechanic, right, to no longer be in breach of the patent. That would obviously take game development time, and it would risk player sentiment because they know the game as it is, they like it as it is, and if they just have to come up with a new mechanic to replace catching your pals, well, players may not like that. And the real risk here is time, because they would be incentivized.
I want to be honest. You want to solve the problem, just make it to where you throw like a cube. You don't throw a ball, turn it into cubes. Because it says you throw a ball. If that's the way the focus is ball, turn it into a cube. Do Minecraft. You're literally throwing blocks. And you could say throw the block and it casts a net. Literally, I would love Nintendo to try to say, oh, you can't do that. Well, first off, it's a cube. And secondly, it's a net, you asshole, which is something that's in real life. You can't patent something that exists in real life. The net. I don't know about the cube net. But the net itself. Like, they could do it. And they could literally do like a weird net mechanic where you can have the little square shake and do the same effect. It's literally just making it look different. Again, you could get cheeky, you could get creative. It would be annoying. But like anything to give Nintendo the finger.
Incentivized to fix this problem and replace the mechanic as soon as is possible. Now, of course, if you want the mechanic to be good, to be well play tested, you will take your time and get it right. But if you're in breach, if there's an injunction, you can't really afford to do that because it's blocking your game from sale. Or, of course, you could give in, and you could agree to license the patent from Nintendo. But the message, as Kirk puts it, is clear. Quote, "For them, this is a massive target they need to declare. Don't do this to us ever again." One could speculate they'd probably do the same thing to any company that came too close to the main line, especially when they perceived it to possibly infringe their IP. That's what Kirk said. And this is absolutely Nintendo sending a warning shot across the bow of the entire industry. It is them hitting Pocket Pair right when they are trying to seize their opportunity. And that includes things like, yes, the PlayStation relationship, but also plans that could see their IP be expanded. Just like Pokemon.
I'm going to say right now that, like I said, Xbox already has a relationship with them. PlayStation is building them. And I would say that even if, like, I don't feel like Nintendo is going to be successful in shutting down Palworld. I don't think so. I think they might be able to, like, drag it out, but I don't think they're going to shut them down. And people, the Pandora's box is open. People have, the damage is done. People see Palworld for what it is. And people are, like, let's be honest, Nintendo's a douchebag. They're making shittier games. They're inferior. Scarlet and Violet is a shitty Pokemon game. It is garbage. That's why you're seeing more people play the older Pokemon games than you are seeing them play the new games. Because the new ones are ass. They suck. They're garbage. They're trash. Doesn't mean you can't have fun with them, but objectively, compared to the other games, they're ass. When more people are willing to go play the older stuff or emulate the old stuff, and instead of play the new stuff, because the new stuff is not the expectations. I think it really hit people when Palworld came out, because the realization is, wow, this is what we could have. This is what we could have, but instead we have this glitchy hot mess that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And Legend of Arceus was also buggy, but I would say it was more refined. I like Legend of Arceus. It was a little bit more cleaner. But man, Scarlet and Violet it has like a bad aftertaste now.
Pokemon was. And I think that is the real thing that Nintendo are worried about here. Palworld is scrappy, right? And I think we all know that it is taking commonly appreciated elements from all over the place and putting them into something.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. They took from Pokemon. Unironically, though, I would say it took more from Survival Arc. Like, if you think that this is Pokemon just with guns, it's Pokemon-like creatures with the Pokeballs, but we have Arc Survival. Like, you just replace the pals with dinosaurs, and it's literally the same thing. It is pretty much essentially the same thing. Like, that is what Palworld is. It's just, it takes Arc Survival and put Pokemon in it, and there you go. That is Palworld.
And Nintendo are probably realizing, this could be a little bit of a problem, because we've basically sat on top of Pokemon. We've done a pretty bad job, all things considered, Pokemon Company as well, for years and years and years and years. What if somebody else is actually able to fight us by making a better Pokemon-like experience? I think that is why Nintendo are trying to do what they do.
And I think that's good. Like, how many Dark Souls-like games have come out? And some of them are good, some of them are bad. But I truly believe that people innovating has pushed FromSoft, who made the Dark Souls series, to create better product. I mean, Elden Ring. Now, I don't have any actual objective way to show that all the innovation and the competition in the area of Souls-like games has helped create Elden Ring to be the way it is. I can't make that claim. I will say, though, that the more innovation that there is in an area or a genre or anything like that, it does improve the quality of the product, because if the product itself is not improving, then the competitors will steal your consumers. And it's just like, for example, it's just like burgers, right? You can't put a patent on burgers, but you can make your burger better than someone else's burger. McDonald's, tasty enough, but it's cheap compared to like Burger King. Some people like Burger King better than McDonald's, but other people don't see much of a difference in the flavor, and they'd rather have cheap. Or you could have like Five Guys burgers. A little bit more quality, a little bit more pricier, but it's really tasty. And that's the case, right? Like, but at the basics of it, they're all burgers. They're all the same thing, but people are innovating. They're improving. They're adding to the base product. Not one person owns a patent on a burger. I don't know why I said like that, but you get what I mean. And when one person has control, imagine if there was a patent on burgers. We wouldn't be enjoying multiple different versions of burgers. If it was just McDonald's, we'd be SOL. Granted, you can make your own burger, but you could also say you can make your own Palworld or your own Pokemon. Not very people could do that. You should be able to make a burger, though.
But I did say there's more than that, and I mentioned Grand Theft Auto. I didn't think Grand Theft Auto would be involved, but kind of is. So this is Nintendo locking things down on their home turf, but it probably won't have that much impact on the broader industry, the global industry, if Nintendo cannot get the American patent system to agree with them, and at the very least we know that's been a way slower process. But, of course,
I don't see it. I don't see it being successful. It is way too generic to be successful.
Principle here is an important thing, and there's actually a long shot that was proposed by a patent attorney in Nikkei Business. This is absolutely amazing, and I love it. They pointed out that while Nintendo's patents for catching monsters in an open field, might have been filed as far back as December 2021 in its first incarnation, they may not actually have the first instance of that mechanic, and that's because of this. This, everybody, is Pokemon Go in Grand Theft Auto 5, done 8 years ago in 2016. Now, remember, how precedence in the actual market with a product, well, that means that Arceus would trump Palworld in terms of filing those patents. Well, as is put here in Nikkei Business, this would mean that because of this mod for GTA, there is an established usage that basically would mean Nintendo shouldn't have been able to file their patent because they didn't create the mechanics because...
This is bogus. I mean, I'm not a legal lawyer, but I know like common sense, and I know like how companies look at product. Like, I'll give you an example. Skyrim. There are modders that have made so much content in Skyrim. But do they really own that content? No, they don't. Sure, they own the models and stuff on their computer, but the moment you upload that to the game, to where everyone has access to it, you no longer own that. That's not yours. That's being, especially if it's based on things found already in the game, like you made a new world based on the objects made already in Skyrim. That's already pre-owned content. Nintendo owns Pokemon. Just because they made a mod in Grand Theft Auto, first off, the one that would have to sue Nintendo and patents and all that crap would have to be Rockstar, right? Rockstar would have to be the ones to do that. But secondly, we're talking about Pokemon, which is Nintendo. It's copyrighted Nintendo. They own that. Those are their assets. So how are you going to say, oh, well, this has already been done using Nintendo's assets, but they don't actually own that? No, they do. When it comes to modders, you don't own the content. You think you do. You may create it, but if you're using assets that are previously owned or copyrighted, you don't own it. You just don't.
It was inspired by Pokemon Go, but it was different.
And
it was there in a GTA mod. It was...
Yeah, you don't own... No one owns this except for... this may be a different game, but no one owns these assets except Nintendo. That is their copyrighted assets.
There in the market. And that means that Pokemon and guns may save the game with Pokemon and guns, which is...
I don't know. I mean, I would love... There's so many different Pokemon-like games out there, like TomTom or whatever the hell it's called. That's another one, but it wasn't as successful as Palworld, in my opinion. But, like, let's be honest. I don't think... Pokemon and guns is good to keep it from being like, oh, they stole one-for-one Pokemon. It's the balls. It's the balls. Nintendo's got them by the balls. Both metaphorically and they're trying to do it physically.
Is absolutely insane. But okay. A wild story. And to be honest with you, I really hope Nintendo lose here.
Oh, yeah.
Patenting game mechanics is risky business. And one of the worst examples we saw of that...
I'll tell you what's the worst example. You want to know what's the worst example? Like I said, did I say it? I don't know if I said it, but I'll say it again. Shadow of Mordor. WB. They literally made the ass. Oh, no, I said it on my live stream. I didn't say it for the video. For my live stream, I talked to the chat. WB, Shadows of Mordor, has the Nemesis system. And they copyrighted that or patented it. And they're the only ones that could use it. And they haven't used that crap in like years. And so no one can use that and innovate off of that system. And it's not good. Granted, I think it is more unique than catching monsters with balls. Yeah, I would say the Nemesis system is far more unique. But I still think stuff like that, patents like that, stifles innovation. And it's another example of, well, if Nintendo gets away with this, other companies are going to start patenting mechanics, and then no one can, it shuts out indie developers. It shuts out rivals. And so you have monopolies where, oh, well, now we no longer have different Call of Duty competitors. Now we just have Call of Duty. we no longer have innovation because everyone owns game mechanics, and that's it. And as a consumer, we don't have choices. We don't have choices. There's no competition to force improvement. And if they're the only ones, like if Nintendo's the only one that has Pokemon-like games, guess what? They can charge and sell the games for whatever price they want, and you have no choice. Either you don't get to participate and enjoy the monster catching simulator, or you have to spend whatever money to do so. It is a Pandora's box we don't want to open.
Was the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War series. They're pretty good games. The second one, quite a bit less because
the second one I heard was ass.
They tried to ruin that with monetization, but the amazing thing was the Nemesis system. The problem is, the Nemesis system was patented such that if you do something with a Nemesis system-like thing, and look, if it's an indie, sure, they'll probably not notice, but maybe if it gets noticed enough, Warner Brothers games will just be able to take you to court.
Even though they don't do anything with the patent.
I don't think any of us can really, afford to battle with Warner Brothers as bloody lawyers. Yeah, this stuff sucks. Good luck to them. That's it for this video. And for more news, check this one out.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's really stupid. Nintendo is a bunch of old Asian men. They might as well be white because they're greedy, they're stingy. And what we see here in America, like, it's just the greedy, pathetic losers. And they don't want competition. And when you start at one place, other companies are going to want to do the same thing because they're going to see that they're successful. They're going to want to shut out. They're going to control and dominate. And at the end of the day, the people that get hurt the most is going to be us, the consumer. So personally, fuck Nintendo. I'm glad I pirated your shitty... I'm not going to say it. Tears of the Kingdom was an amazing game. I'm glad I pirated it first and then I bought it second. The new Pokemon game, I might be selling the seas because if I don't see an improvement, you're not getting my money. Especially if you just want to sue your competitors instead of innovating and improving the game. You can blow me, Nintendo. You want to be a supervillain? Then I will be an anti-hero. That's right. I won't be a hero or a villain. I'll just be an anti-hero. I will go yo-ho-ho, set and sail like One Piece. That's right. Let me know in the comments section what you think. Overall, I'm just... Nintendo... It sucks because I'm always been a fan of Pokemon and I've always supported Nintendo and heck, I've bought multiple Switches, but it's crazy. You grow up and you realize that the heroes that you thought were heroes are actually just the villains. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Until next time, hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel for more. Huzzah. Have a good one.